In the quiet village of Onitsha, where the red earth met the vibrant green of the yam fields, lived two friends, Kelly and Daniela. From their earliest days, they were inseparable. They skipped hand in hand to the same primary school, giggled through crowded classrooms in secondary school, and shared dreams under the star-dusted Nigerian sky. Their families, though not wealthy, were hardworking and loving. Their parents, dedicated to giving their daughters a bright future, sacrificed to provide for them. Mr. Okoro, Kelly's father, was a skilled carpenter, while Mrs. Obi, Daniela's mother, was known throughout the village for her vibrant tie-dye cloth creations. When the result of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM) examination came out, a wave of joy swept through their homes. Both Kelly and Daniela had passed, earning places at the prestigious University of Nsukka. Before their departure, their parents gathered them, offering words of wisdom. "My daughters," Mrs. Okoro began, her voice warm with love, "remember that as you go to this new place, your friendship is a treasure. Be sisters to each other, always ready to lend a hand. If trouble comes, pray together, and God will guide you." Mr. Obi added, "Be content with what you have. Remember where you come from. We are not rich, but we have given you the tools to succeed. Let humility be your guide." With these words echoing in their hearts, Kelly and Daniela set off for the bustling city of Nsukka. The university was a world away from their quiet village. They settled into their shared room in the student hostel, attended lectures together, and found comfort in each other's familiar presence. As the semester progressed, Kelly and Daniela diligently attended classes, studied hard, and excelled in their coursework. They approached each assignment as a team, always ready to make sure the other excelled in their duties. When the long holiday arrived, they returned to Onitsha, their parents beaming with pride. They shared stories of their university life, their laughter filling the small homes that had nurtured their dreams. With the long break over, they went back into the big city to resume the next class, that is level 300. It was upon this return that everything started to shift. As Daniela walked around the campus, she met some really wealthy set of girls. They wore the fancy clothes, fancy shoes. They had the latest iPhones. They had good wigs, good bags. And so, Daniela admired them a lot. Whenever she sees them, she always runs back to her friend Kelly to explain to Kelly how she saw those set of rich girls, and she was like, "Wow. God, when will I ever reach that level?" And Kelly always advised her by saying, "Remember what our parents told us before coming. They told us to always be contented with what we have. We should always remember where we came from." Daniela, however, felt a seed of discontent sprouting within her. She found herself increasingly drawn to the wealthy students on campus, girls who flaunted designer clothes, sported the latest iPhones, and moved with an air of effortless confidence. The second week of the semester found Daniela increasingly consumed by her desire to belong to the wealthy clique. Finally, she gave in to the urge to approach them. During a short break between lectures, she hesitantly approached Sugar, the acknowledged leader of the group. Sugar, radiating an aura of effortless cool, raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "So, you're the one who's been watching us," she said, her voice laced with amusement. "What do you want?" Daniela, overwhelmed with a mix of excitement and nervousness, stammered, "First of all, I want to thank you for even speaking to me. It's an honor for girls of your caliber to notice someone like me. I want to be like you so much. How can I be like you?" Sugar exchanged a knowing glance with her friends, a flicker of something sharp and calculating in her eyes. Then, she draped an arm around Daniela's shoulders, her touch surprisingly cold. "Don't worry, my dear," she purred. "You're going to be like me, and even more than me. I promise." Sugar invited Daniela to meet her that weekend. As Saturday approached, Daniela was a whirlwind of nervous energy. She carefully chose her best dress, sprayed a generous amount of borrowed perfume, and tried to tame her unruly hair. As she prepared to leave, Kelly watched her with a worried frown. "Daniela, where are you going? You're all dressed up." "Just around, Kelly," Daniela replied, avoiding her gaze. "I just want to stroll around campus for a bit. I'll be back before 6 p.m. Kelly nodded, a shadow of unease in her eyes. "Okay, just be careful." Daniela hurried away, the familiar comfort of Kelly's presence replaced by a nervous anticipation. She knocked on Sugar's door, her heart pounding in her chest. Sugar, looking every bit the queen bee in her perfectly coordinated outfit, pulled her inside. "Wow, you made it," she said, her voice dripping with a mixture of amusement and appraisal. "Come in, come in." Sugar ushered Daniela into her lavishly decorated room, a stark contrast to the Spartan simplicity of their shared hostel space. "So," Sugar continued, her eyes narrowed, "do you really want to be like me?" Daniela, mesmerized by the opulence surrounding her, practically vibrated with eagerness. "Yes, I want to. More than anything." "Are you sure you can handle all this fame, attention, flashiness?" Sugar pressed, a hint of challenge in her voice. "Yes, I can. I will," Daniela insisted, her voice trembling with determination. Sugar smiled, a predatory glint in her eyes. "Good. Then listen carefully. The first thing you need to do is to stay away from poor people." Daniela's breath caught in her throat. "What do you mean?" "Like that friend of yours, Kelly," Sugar said dismissively. "I always see you walking around with her. She screams poverty. You have to stay away from her if you want to be rich." Daniela's face crumpled. But Kelly is my sister," she stammered. "She's like a sister to me. My good friend from home." Sugar shrugged, her expression indifferent. "Do you want this or not?" Daniela stood frozen, torn between her loyalty to Kelly and her overwhelming desire for a different life. The weight of her decision pressed down on her, suffocating her. She closed her eyes, battling conflicting emotions. Finally, she opened her eyes, her gaze resolute. I want to be like you," she whispered, the words tasting like ash in her mouth. Sugar clapped her hands together, her smile widening. "That's what I wanted to hear. So, repeat after me, I will stay away from my poor friend, Kelly." Daniela repeated the words, her voice barely audible. "Excellent," Sugar purred. "Now, secondly, we need to change your clothes." She gestured towards a walk-in closet overflowing with designer clothes, shoes, and accessories. I'll give you some of my good clothes, my bags, my weave. I'll even get you a new iPhone. Daniela's face lit up, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She had always dreamed of owning such beautiful things. And the last thing, Sugar continued, her voice regaining its sharp edge. You can't stay with Kelly anymore. You'll come live with us. We have plenty of space in our room. Daniela hesitated, her initial enthusiasm flickering. The thought of leaving Kelly, of abandoning their shared dreams, filled her with a pound of guilt. But she had already made her choice. She took a deep breath and forced a smile. Yes, she said, the word a hollow echo in the opulent room. That won't be a problem at all. As promised, Daniela returned to their room before 6 p.m., carrying a large bag filled with her new clothes, watches, shoes, and wigs. She entered the room quietly, placing the bag under her bed. Without a word to Kelly, she climbed into bed and feigned sleep. Kelly, sensing a change in Daniela's demeanor, wondered why she was so silent. She tried to start a conversation, but Daniela offered only monosyllabic responses, her eyes averted. Kelly sighed, muttering to herself, she must be tired. She finished her assignment and went to sleep, hoping things would be better in the morning. But sleep offered Kelly little comfort. Around midnight, she was jolted awake by a terrifying nightmare. In her dream, she saw Daniela consumed by anguish, tears streaming down her face as she reached out, desperately calling Kelly's name for help. The dream was so vivid, so filled with pain, that Kelly woke up drenched in sweat, her heart pounding in her chest. Trembling, she tried to wake Daniela, eager to share the disturbing dream so they could pray together, a ritual they had always followed after a nightmare. But Daniela, groggy and irritated, brushed her off. It's just a dream, Kelly, she mumbled. It's not that serious. Just go back to sleep. Kelly was stunned. Daniela's reaction was completely out of character. In the past, they had always comforted each other, sharing their fears and seeking solace in prayer. This cold dismissal felt like a deep betrayal. Heartbroken, Kelly quietly prayed alone, a growing sense of unease settling upon her. The following week, Kelly noticed Daniela packing a second, larger bag. What's in the bag, Daniela? Kelly asked, her voice filled with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Daniela shrugged dismissively. It's nothing, she said, avoiding Kelly's eyes. Where are you going? Kelly pressed, her anxiety mounting. I'm going to meet some of my mates, Daniela replied, her tone cut. We have a group assignment, and we need to work on it. I'll be sleeping over for the week. From that day forward, Daniela never returned to their shared room. She stayed with Sugar and her friends in their lavish room, immersing herself in their world of designer clothes, expensive outings, and shallow conversations. Whenever Kelly encountered Daniela during lessons, she would approach her, her heart aching for the lost connection. But Daniela would push her away with her face full with mockery. Don't you understand, Kelly? She would say. You don't belong here anymore. You can't be around me anymore. Kelly, confused and hurt, persisted in her attempts to understand Daniela's sudden change. She kept asking, kept pleading for an explanation. Finally, Daniela snapped. During one such encounter, she shoved Kelly to the ground, causing her to stumble and fall. The other students, accustomed to Daniela's newfound status and cruelty, erupted in laughter. Kelly, humiliated and heartbroken, scrambled to her feet, tears blurring her vision. The laughter of the crowd echoed in her ears, a cruel symphony of betrayal and loss. She turned and fled, leaving Daniela and her new life behind, the pain of their broken friendship a heavy weight in her chest. In the aftermath of the public humiliation, Kelly was consumed by a mix of confusion and heartbreak. She wondered if she should call Daniela's parents, but the thought of causing them disappointment and anger held her back. "I'll try to reach Daniela on my own," she resolved, clinging to a sliver of hope. "I don't want to involve her parents, not yet." 3 days passed, each one filled with unanswered questions and a growing sense of dread. Then, Kelly saw Daniela, surrounded by her newfound wealthy friends. Daniela's transformation was startling. She was dressed in flashy clothes, a short skirt that barely covered her thighs, a bright, synthetic wig that clashed with her skin tone, and expensive shoes that seemed to mock Kelly's worn sandals. A heavy gold watch glittered on her wrist, a stark symbol of the life she had chosen. Approaching Daniela, Kelly swallowed her pride and offered, "Daniela, I forgive you for what happened. Please, can we just talk?" Daniela, surrounded by her jeering friends, simply turned her back and walked away, her silence a deeper one than any insult. Kelly, defeated but not broken, knew there was little else she could do but pray. Each night, she knelt beside her bed, begging God to protect Daniela and guide her back to the path of righteousness. As the semester progressed, Kelly noticed a worrying trend. During the continuous assessment tests and short quizzes, Daniela's performance dropped. The once brilliant student was now struggling to keep up with her coursework. Kelly, her heart aching for her friend, cautiously approached Daniela, offering help. "Daniela, I've noticed you're not doing well in class. If you need help, I'm here for you." But Daniela, consumed by arrogance and blinded by the superficial allure of her new life, scoffed. "I don't need your help, Kelly," she sneered. "I'm doing just fine. You wouldn't understand." A month passed, Daniela basking in the fleeting pleasures of her new life. She reveled in the attention, the expensive clothes, and the constant parties. But beneath the surface of her carefully constructed facade, a growing unease began to fester. One day, Sugar invited Daniela to sit with her on her bed. As they chatted, Sugar's tone suddenly turned serious. "Daniela," she began, her eyes narrowed. "Do you know how I get the money for these shoes, these dresses, the wigs?" Daniela shook her head, her brow furrowed with curiosity. "Do you want to know?" Sugar pressed, a predatory glint in her eyes. "I can tell you how you can have your own money, so you can buy anything you want." Daniela hesitated, a flicker of apprehension in her heart. "Okay," she whispered. "Please tell me. How do I do it?" Sugar leaned closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. You have to be in a relationship and sleep with the most famous guys on campus. Daniela recoiled, her eyes widening in shock. Sleep with them, she stammered. But Sugar laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. Don't be naive, Daniela. You're not a child anymore. You want this life, right? Well, this is how it's done. Daniela stood in silence, battling conflicting emotions. Her upbringing, her values, her friendship with Kelly all screamed in protest. But the law of the luxurious life, the desire to fit in, was a powerful temptation. Slowly, reluctantly, Daniela nodded, sealing her fate. Sugar smiled, her victory complete. That's my girl, she purred. Now, let me introduce you to someone, the most famous guys on campus. She mentioned Raymond, who was a wealthy and good-looking guy. With a sinking feeling in her stomach, Daniela knew that she was stepping onto a dangerous path, a path that would forever change her life. That night, Daniela lay in bed, but sleep wouldn't come. Her mind raced. Sugar's offer kept replaying in her head: be with rich guys, get money and nice things. One part of Daniela knew this was wrong. It went against everything she'd been taught. But another part of her was drawn to the fancy clothes, the parties, the feeling of being important, the life she saw Sugar living. The next morning, Sugar waited for Daniela's answer. Daniela felt pressured. Finally, she said, yes. A small word, but it changed everything. A week passed. Then, Sugar took Daniela to a big party. The music was so loud it made your chest vibrate. Colorful lights flashed everywhere. Sugar whispered in Daniela's ear, Raymond is expecting you. Remember what I told you? Raymond was standing near the bar. He looked rich and cool, with expensive clothes and a confident smile. Sugar led Daniela toward him. Raymond's eyes went up and down Daniela, like he was checking her out. He grinned. You're even more beautiful than Sugar said you were, he purred. Daniela's face turned red. She wasn't used to guys saying things like that. We should hang out more, Raymond suggested smoothly. He took out his phone and asked for Daniela's number. They talked for a long time that night. Daniela found herself liking Raymond. He made her feel special and important. He talked about trips he'd taken and things he owned. Soon, Daniela made a big decision. She packed some of her clothes and moved out of the small, crowded hostel room she shared with Sugar. She went to live with Raymond in his big, fancy apartment. Raymond and Daniela became very close, very quickly. They slept together many times. Raymond gave Daniela presents, new shoes, a fancy purse, dinner at expensive restaurants. Daniela felt like she was living a dream. She was finally getting everything she wanted. She felt happy and free. But far away, in her small dorm room, Kelly felt a growing worry in her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that something bad was happening to Daniela. She didn't know exactly what, but she knew Daniela was in danger. She kept praying for her friend. Every night, before she went to sleep, she begged God to keep Daniela safe. But even her prayers couldn't stop the bad dreams. In Kelly's dreams, Daniela was always crying. She looked sad and lost. She seemed to be in a lot of pain. Kelly would wake up in the middle of the night, her heart pounding. She would get out of bed and pray even harder for her friend. Back at Raymond's apartment, Daniela had a secret habit. Every month, when it was that time of the month, she would carefully wrap her used sanitary pads in a black plastic bag. She tied the bag tightly and hid it in a corner under Raymond's bed. She didn't want Raymond to see them. But when she went to throw the bags away, they were always missing. One day, Daniela asked Raymond about it. "Have you seen any black plastic bags under the bed?" she asked casually. Raymond smiled, all charm. "Oh, those. I took care of them for you, babe," he said. "I didn't want you to have to deal with it." Daniela felt relieved. "He's so caring," she thought. "I'm so lucky to have him." She didn't realize the truth, that Raymond was hiding something. Word of Daniela and Raymond's relationship spread like wildfire across the campus. Suddenly, Daniela, who had once been a quiet, unknown student, was famous. Everyone knew her name. People whispered about her as she walked by. Some were jealous. Some admired her. But Daniela loved the attention. She loved the feeling of being someone important. But under the surface of the nice clothes, the expensive dinners, and the constant attention, a darkness was growing. Daniela was changing. She was becoming someone else. And Kelly, in her faraway dorm room, could feel it in her dreams, even though Daniela refused to see it in her waking life. Daniela was so happy. She thought Raymond was the most caring guy in the world. This went on for 3 months. Every time she had her period, the used pads would disappear, and Raymond would say he took care of it. One day, Raymond went out with his friends to a party. Daniela decided to surprise him by cleaning the whole apartment. She wanted to impress him. While cleaning, she found something strange, a hidden door. It was in the wall, almost like it wasn't supposed to be there. Daniela's curiosity took over. She had to know what was behind that door. She started looking for a key. She opened drawers and cabinets, searching. Finally, she found a small, odd-looking key. She tried it in the hidden door, and it worked. The door clicked open. What Daniela saw made her heart stop. Inside the hidden space was a small box, shaped like a coffin. It was dark and creepy. She didn't want to look inside, but she couldn't stop herself. Fear crawled up her spine. She found a stick nearby and used it to carefully open the box. Inside, her worst fears came true. It was filled with her used sanitary pads, wrapped in the black plastic bags she remembered. Her blood ran cold. She was terrified. What did this mean? Why would Raymond keep this? She knew this wasn't normal. Daniela started shaking. She was panting, her heart pounding so hard she thought it would burst. She couldn't think straight. She burst into tears. "What am I going to do?" she sobbed. "What does this mean? Is this some kind of ritual? Why does he have my used things in a coffin?" She was so scared, she couldn't do anything but cry. She waited for Raymond to come home, but she was exhausted and terrified. Eventually, she fell asleep. Raymond came home late. Around 1 a.m. Daniela woke up and had to use the bathroom. She went to the toilet and started to pee. As she was about to flush, Raymond suddenly burst into the bathroom. "No! No, don't flush," he shouted. Daniela was already scared and confused. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Let me help you," Raymond said, trying to sound normal. He didn't know she had already found the box with her used parts. Daniela felt sick to her stomach. She made an excuse and went back to bed. She told herself she would confront Raymond in the morning. But she couldn't sleep. Raymond stayed in the bathroom for a long time. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. Daniela started to get worried. What was he doing in there for so long? She had to find out. Carefully, she got out of bed and crept to the bathroom door. It wasn't fully locked. She peeked through the crack. What she saw made her want to scream. Raymond was on his knees in front of the toilet, and he was eating her poop. Daniela's stomach turned. She was so disgusted she thought she would throw up. And she was even more terrified than before. This was beyond anything she could have imagined. She quietly backed away from the door and ran back to bed. Her fear was so strong it felt like she couldn't breathe. Before dawn, before 5:30 a.m., Daniela started packing her bags. She grabbed her clothes and her few belongings. As soon as it was 6:30 a.m., she quietly left the apartment, without Raymond even knowing she was gone. She ran back to the hostel and burst into Sugar's room. She told Sugar everything: the hidden door, the box, the used parts, Raymond eating her poop. She was crying and shaking as she spoke. Sugar didn't seem surprised. He shrugged. "So what?" she said. "What's the big deal?" Daniela couldn't believe it. "Don't you understand? This is crazy. This is sick." Sugar rolled her eyes. "I'm late for class," she said, getting up. She grabbed her bag and headed for the door. "Don't worry so much. You'll get used to it." She left Daniela alone in the room, crying. Suddenly, everything clicked into place for Daniela. Sugar knew about all of this. It was all a plan. This was how these rich guys got their money. They used girls like her for rituals and for other things. She had been so blind. She had been so stupid. She had been used. Daniela cried and cried. She felt betrayed and disgusted. She realized that the luxurious life she had been chasing was a lie. It was built on darkness and pain. Later that evening, Daniela started feeling sick. She had a fever and a terrible headache. She lay in bed, hoping someone would check on her. But nobody did. Sugar didn't come back to the room. The other girls in the hostel ignored her. Nobody even asked how she was doing. As she lay on her sickbed, Daniela felt a deep loneliness. "God, is this how I'm going to die?" she thought. All alone, unused. With the little strength she had left, she packed her bags again. She knew she couldn't stay here. She had to get away from this place. She had to go back to someone she could trust. She had to go back to her old friend, her sister, Kelly. She went back to Kelly, hoping she would be forgiven. Daniela knocked on Kelly's door, her hands shaking. She knocked again, louder this time. Finally, the door opened. Kelly stood there, her eyes wide with shock. Daniela looked terrible. She was pale and thin, like she hadn't slept or eaten in days. Before Kelly could say anything, Daniela dropped to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. She sobbed and sobbed, unable to speak. Kelly quickly pulled Daniela inside and closed the door. She helped Daniela to her bed. "What's wrong? What happened to you? Are you okay?" Kelly asked, her voice filled with concern. She touched Daniela's forehead. She was burning up with fever. Daniela couldn't answer. She just kept crying. Her body shook with sobs. Kelly knew Daniela needed food and water. She rushed out to buy something. She came back with a bowl of soup and a glass of water. She helped Daniela sit up and eat. Daniela ate slowly, but she finished the whole bowl. Then, exhausted, she fell asleep. When Daniela woke up, she was still weak and shaky. But she was finally ready to talk. Through her tears, she told Kelly everything. She told her about Sugar, about Raymond, about the hidden box, about Raymond eating her poop. She told her about how she had been used and betrayed. Kelly listened in silence, her heart breaking for her friend. "I knew it," she said softly. "That's why I kept having those bad dreams. God was trying to warn me." They didn't know what to do. Kelly bought Daniela some medicine from the pharmacy. Daniela seemed to get a little better for a while. But then she got sick again. And she realized that she hadn't had her period in months. This was bad, very bad. "We have to call our parents," Kelly said, her voice firm. "This is more than we can handle on our own. I don't know what else to do. We've prayed, I've given you medicine, but nothing is working." Daniela was terrified. "No," she cried. "What am I going to tell my parents? They are going to be so disappointed in me. They are going to be so angry." Kelly took Daniela's hand. "I know it's scary," she said. "But look at you. You're getting weaker and weaker. We have to tell them. It's the only way." Finally, Daniela agreed. With trembling hands, Kelly made the call. The next day, both Kelly's and Daniela's parents arrived at the university. They rushed to the hostel room. When Kelly opened the door, Daniela's mother burst into tears. She ran to Daniela and hugged her tightly. She cried and cried, her body shaking with grief. Daniela's father stood behind her, his face grim. They helped Daniela pack her things. They knew she couldn't stay here any longer. They decided to take her back to their village, where they could take care of her. Kelly insisted on going with them. She told her parents that she needed to be by Daniela's side. She got permission from the university to take some time off. The journey back to the village was long and difficult. Daniela was weak and ill. She slept most of the way. When they arrived in the village, Daniela's parents took her to see a doctor. But the doctor couldn't find anything wrong with her. She seemed to be suffering from a strange illness that they couldn't understand. Days turned into weeks, and Daniela didn't get any better. She grew weaker and weaker. Her parents were desperate. Finally, Daniela's mother remembered a pastor who lived in a nearby town. She had heard that he had the gift of healing. She decided to invite him to come and pray for Daniela. The pastor came to their house and prayed for Daniela. He then asked to speak to Daniela's parents alone. He told them that their daughter was under attack by demonic forces. He said that they were fighting for her soul. He told them that they needed to pray and fast with all their might. The pastor declared a 3-day fast. During those 3 days, the family prayed intensely. They begged God to have mercy on Daniela and to deliver her from the evil that was tormenting her. On her sick bed, Daniela cried. Dear to God. Lord, please forgive me, she sobbed. I am a sinner. I know I have turned away from you. I know I have taken a path that I shouldn't have taken. But please forgive me. You are a compassionate God. You are my Father and my King. Help me, Jesus. Help me, God. Help me. After she made that prayer, Daniela fell into a deep sleep. Everyone thought she had died. But then they noticed that she was sweating. She was sweating so much that her clothes were soaked. They tried to wipe her down, but she kept sweating. 2 hours passed. Then, suddenly, Daniela woke up. She sat upright in her bed. Everyone stared at her in shock. Daniela's mother and father rushed to her side. Are you okay? How do you feel? They asked. Daniela smiled. I feel strong, she said. I feel very, very strong. She got out of bed and stood on her feet. Then, she fell to her knees and thanked God with all her heart. She praised Him for saving her life. Kelly and her parents, Daniela's parents, and the pastor all joined in praising God. They were filled with joy and gratitude. Daniela never returned to that university. Kelly didn't either. Their parents changed their schools. Daniela vowed to never take that path again. She knew that God had given her a second chance. She and Kelly continued with their schooling, and they both excelled. They ended up getting great jobs and living happy and fulfilling lives. Daniela never forgot the lessons she had learned. She knew that true happiness could only be found in God's love and forgiveness.